I'm using the cool weather to bulk out my orchard with some new bare-rooted fruit trees. The orchard is one of the first things I planted here on the property. We have over 100 fruit and nut trees, and the fruit we grow is a really big part of our family's food supply. Our large netted canopy keeps the marauding cockatoos and most of the wild birds out. But there are plenty of feathered friends below the netting, and managing their roles in the orchard is a delicate balance. My flock of ducks, chickens and geese live and forage in the orchard, controlling insect pests and eating fallen fruit and returning manure to the soil. Generally, it's a great arrangement, but some of the geese are like badly behaved teenagers and killed some of my young trees by ring barking them. But onwards and upwards. Now I've got space in my orchard to plant some more trees, and it's the perfect time to plant bare-rooted deciduous fruit and nut trees. In early winter, the nursery has dug the tree from the ground and pruned the roots. They're then kept in damp sawdust until they're ready to go back into the ground. Get rid of all the sawdust. It has no nutrients, so won't serve the plant. To make sure the roots don't dry out while planting, place in a bucket of water with weak seaweed solution. The reason why bare-rooted is best is because deciduous fruit trees are dormant at this time, and if you plant them correctly and you prune them correctly, they'll take off far better than a potted tree will planted in the warmer weather. Now, today I'm going to be planting some cherries, apples, pears and an almond, but I'm going to show you how to do it right with this cherry here. First off, obviously, you need to dig the hole. It should be as deep as the roots, but twice as wide. Now, if your soil's a bit ordinary, you probably need to add some organic matter. And if you've got heavy clay, even add some gypsum. But this soil's quite good, and I know it's fertile because I can see the worms. Now it's time to look at the roots. You want to make sure there are no broken bits. These roots actually look quite good. If there were, you'd simply trim them off. And then you also want to look at the trunk and see where the tree was growing in the ground. You can usually see a change in colour. About there, this was below the ground when the tree was growing in the paddock, and this was above the ground. So ultimately, I want my tree to be planted at the same level. If I plant it too deep, I'll end up with collar rot, and I don't want that. So now, simply place your tree in the hole, spread the roots out, and backfill. Now the tree's nice and secure. I'm happy that it's at the right level in the soil, and I'll just simply scrape the mulch back around it. You need to make sure that your graft point is exposed, because if it's covered, you might end up getting suckers coming from below the graft. The most important part of planting a bare-rooted tree is pruning it afterwards, and pruning it hard. When these trees are dug out of the paddock, they lose 90% of their root system. So it's vital that you prune the top and reduce it by 90% to compensate for that root loss. Because this is a cherry tree, I want to create a vase shape. So I'm cutting the central leader right down. While this might look a bit brutal, what it's going to do is force every bud remaining on this tree to grow and become a branch. And that's ensuring that your tree's got a great structure for its future growth. Now, to make sure the geese don't ring bark this tree, I've made a mesh guard with a small enough gauge mesh that they can't get their beaks through it. I'm simply going to push these stakes in and then hammer them in to secure. mightn't look like much, but in spring the tree's going to power away. This really is the best and cheapest way to plant deciduous fruit and nut trees. This whole orchard was planted this way. Bare root season runs from June till August, so it's quite a long window. Why not get out this weekend and plant a bare rooted tree in your patch?